Happy Monday, y'all. Y'all standing in a different angle, ain't you? We survived the weekend. Y'all, it was amazing. And a couple of y'all came to encourage us and support. And we got to meet a few of y'all. And we greatly appreciate it. But Friday, Miss Dana came. And she actually helped us. We had to move some tables around because the sun was bearing down. And then Saturday, I think I can slip a picture in of Mr. Bruce and his wife, but I couldn't do video because there was children and there was a lot of people. And, that's, to me, that's hinging in their privacy. And so I choose not to video, when it's a large crowd and especially children. That's not mine, meaning my grandkids. So you won't have any video, but I can tell you it was an amazing experience, and I will do it again. I will do it again. It was a little nerve-wracking, and it was a lot of work, but now we know the do's and the don'ts completely. And we walked away with a lot of knowledge, and what an experience. But what we're here today to do is we're bringing that fall in, right? And we're going to cook greens. Now, y'all know I'm growing mustard, collards, and turnip greens. But y'all, I went out to the greenhouse and it made me want some really bad. So Bud and I had to go to town anyway to get salt for our softening machine for our well. And then I hit the garden center, and I'll tell y'all about that when we go out there. And I did buy some things. They needed me. I didn't need them. They needed me, but I'll share that when we go out there. But then we had to run over to the supermarket, and I was like, I got to have greens. I cannot wait like 6 more weeks. So I looked, and they had collards. I didn't want collards. I actually wanted mustard and turnips. I like to mix the two. Well, I hate to say it, but the turnips looked a little. But the mustard greens looked amazing. Great smell, smaller stem. So I knew that they hadn't just been sitting in a cooler. The stems were soft. So it just said, buy me. So I bought 4 little bundles, which is all we need just to give us that little taste. But because they are mustard greens and I'm not mixing them with turnips, I do cook mine different. That's because mustard can tend to bring that bitter, But to me, the turnips tend to sweeten it. So with just mustard greens, you'll have to get your pen and paper out if you want to just cook a pot of mustards. And I'm going to show you my take on it. And I'm going to show you the ingredients sitting over here and why I choose to use these ingredients. But this is the first thing that we got to get going is the pot liquor, which is the liquid. Because it's got to go a whole hour before we ever add the greens. And that's going to be a couple hours. But we're not just going to stop there. We're going to have some fried chicken to go with it. We're going to have some cornbread to go with it. I had 2 ears of corn left over from a couple of weeks ago. I just threw them in the freezer. We're going to have those as well, and whatever else I can come up with. Because, guys, we was kind of eating sandwiches and food trucks, things like that. No junk, but it's just not that good home-cooked meal. So today is about spending the day with Lippy. We're going to cook us up a home-cooked meal. We're going to go to the garden. I got to show you some updates, and I'll tell you why I did what I did at the big orange box store. I'll just leave it like that. So, I got my pot here. I'm fixing to turn you around. Get a sip. So good. And we're going to start this week off right. And it starts with good groceries. And then we'll head outside. Now, I've just got a 4-quart pot. Like I said, it's going to look like a lot, but y'all know when you cook greens, they cook down. So I'm just going to get my pot heated. I'm about a number 7, and I'm going to get some ingredients to start off with. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to the bottom of my pot, a couple of tablespoons. Okay, what I have here is salt pork, and no, I did not rinse it. When I'm doing mustard greens, instead of using like a ham hock or smoked turkey, hog jaw, I prefer to use the salt meat. To me, that gives you your saltiness, and no, I did not rinse it because I won't be adding any salt. But you'll have to taste as you go. But I love how it breaks down the bitterness of the mustard green. I also have 1 medium diced carrot, and I have 1 large diced onion. And everybody in the pot together. Now we're sizzling. We cooking, y'all. We're going to get this all combined, because of what I want to do is render down a little bit of that fat, because you need fat, well, when you're cooking any green, but especially a mustard green. And that is a beautiful piece. Now you can get salt pork in slices. I just like to buy a large one, and I dice it. Well, I shouldn't say dice it. I cut it like by 3, and I freeze it. And that way I have the perfect amount. So we're just going to get these rendered down for about a minute to 2. And then we'll start adding more flavors to the pot. We're building up that pot liquor. Now you won't be tasting the carrot flavor. Like I said, a lot of times you can put sugar in your greens, which I will be adding a little bit once I taste the liquid. But the carrots in with mustard, you don't have to do the carrots with mustard and turnip, but when you're doing just mustard greens, you would be surprised what that carrot does for flavor. Now, they're not going to stay in this size, because as long as it's cooking, they're actually going to just melt down, and you may see a little hint of orange, but other than that, you're not biting into a carrot. I'm seeing some translucent take place with my onions, so I'm just going to use some minced garlic, and I'm going to go ahead and finish up this little jar that I have. I would say maybe a tablespoon and a half. I'm going to add a little black pepper. Now remember, I always tell y'all, season to taste. That was about a teaspoon. The next ingredient, I'm going to add some lemon pepper. That lemon is going to brighten up, believe it or not, the greens to come in without that green taste. It's really strange. About a teaspoon. It doesn't take much, but guys, there's something about that lemon pepper that just does something to all greens. Now I'm going to add some of my swamp mix, which is a Cajun season. And the reason why I'm adding all the seasoning now, that way that the seasoning can bloom when it hits that heat. It really intensifies the flavors. Oh yeah. Getting some really good color. You see that? Now this is optional, but I'm using some red pepper flakes, about a half a teaspoon. Now I'm going to come in with some water. All right, so this is a 4-quart. We're not quite halfway up the pot. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm good there. So we brought the water level up halfway up the pot. I'm going to crank the heat up a little bit to about a number 8. And I want to get it to a boil. I've got a heaping teaspoon of chicken base. Now you can use chicken broth, but I like the richness of the chicken base. Now that chicken base has salt in it. The salt pork has salt in it. So like I said, I will not be adding any more salt to this. And I'll taste it towards the end to see if we need to. But I don't believe we're going to need to. We're almost at that boil. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. And that's it. Now, as we wait for it to come up to a boil, let me show you my mustard greens. I did take the stems off, and I washed them 3 times in 3 different batches of clean water. You want to make sure there's no sand and dirt. And I julienne them, meaning I just grab the leaves. Y'all have seen me do it, I think, in a couple of videos. I'm not really sure. And I just roll them and I just cut them with a knife because it gives you good bites. See, they're like julienne. Took me about 45 minutes because, like I said, I washed the heck out of them. But I'm just going to set them over here to the side because it's going to be a little while. Yes, patience. Patience. Now, I don't know if you can do it in one of them, what they call them things, Instapots. Yeah, I ain't got one of those, so I don't know. I mean, you could try. I don't know, maybe. If y'all got Instapots and y'all cook greens in them, let me know. I don't know anything about them. So, all right, we're at that boil. And this is so easy, guys. You put the lid on. You turn your heat down to simmer, which mine would be like a number 3. And you got to walk away for an hour to an hour and a half. Just saying. But that gives us time to go to the garden. Or, it's really not the garden, is it? It's the greenhouse. And then I got to show you what Mr. Buddy started on yesterday till he was like, and I was like, and we was like, okay, we got to go in and get cleaned up. Want to make sure it wasn't boiling over. Ooh. We can get a facial. All right. Let me make sure this does simmer down before I put that lid tight on there because I don't want it boiling over. And we're going outside. We're out in the greenhouse. And I got a lot to show y'all. Oh, what a beautiful butterfly. I got distracted. I'm trying to get where there's not so much sun. Maybe y'all won't get a glare on me. But last Sunday, a week ago yesterday, if you remember, we planted the carrots. And we did the radishes on Saturday. No, Sunday, didn't we? Anyway, last weekend, I had not fooled with them. Y'all saw me cover them. I put the black lid on the carrots. Yesterday morning, I came out here, and I said, well, let me just peek and check. And y'all about had a heart attack. I should have pulled that cardboard Wednesday, maybe Thursday. I've never seen carrots germinate in 4 days, ever in my life. So I'm going to turn the camera around. I think they're going to be okay. They got very leggy. When I pulled that cardboard off, I was like, and Buddy's like, what's wrong? I was like, they're like 4 inches tall. He said, what? I'm going to show y'all. So, my advice to myself or you guys moving forward, check your carrots every day. Just peek and close it. I didn't. It's always been 7 to 14 days. Always. When I show you how leggy these are, I'm actually tempted to go ahead and start 2 more totes because I do have 2 totes. If I see them laying too long. You know, they may come on up and do fine, but I want to show you how huge these carrot starts are. It blew my mind. I hope you're going to be able to see. I'm going to put the camera very close. Do you see this? I'm trying to go slow. Now, these are the Danvers. Do you see that? See how leggy? Guys, these things normally don't get like this till about the 3rd week. Here's the short and sweets. The same thing. Now, as Mr. Buddy said, he said, Lips, you put both feet in that bucket, didn't you? I said, I did something. Y'all saw what I did. But look at that. And here is our radishes. They did great. Now, I did go in. There was 2 of them that I obviously, like right here, I had 2 seeds. I must have missed one. So I just clipped the weakest link. You know, you don't want to pull them because then you can disturb the root. But I want y'all to look how tall these things are. I'm trying to angle the camera. Look at that. So, 100% germination. I do have an empty spot here and an empty spot here, but I'm not too worried about it because I did plant more yesterday, like I told you I would, in some other buckets. Now I'm propped in the shade. I'm straddling 2 buckets. That's not wise, but we're going to make it work. So, let me tell y'all about the big orange box store. That's where we go and get our bags of salt for our softening machine for our well, because let me tell y'all what, we got some of that nasty iron ore water. It's hard, and you got to keep the salt. Now, it's perfect with salt in it. I got nervous about watering the garden last year, but you see it didn't affect it. But anyway, I said, let me go to the garden center. Well, they had, and it's at front to the side. It's not in where the garden stuff is, where it's all pretty. They had about 3 buggies. I think some of y'all call them carts. And there was just plants just everywhere. And then they had like cinder blocks and had pieces of wood and had these plants stacked. I was like, what are these? And they were Burpee brand. And the lady said, we're closing these out. Well, we don't sell, whoever brings them. She named somebody. She named some kind of company. But I'm sure it's the affiliation to Burpee. They'll come and pick them up. She said they're $1. They wasn't dead, okay? But they couldn't survive another day and a half, okay? I'm getting off that bucket because I got a little sideways. So this is what we purchased. They were $1. Now, I did go ahead. They had the 4-packs. They were looking a little funky. Those were 2. So I did buy, and I'll go through and show y'all. I haven't planted them all. I really didn't need 4, and all it said was cabbage. So I put 2 to a bucket. Well, you know, what's it going to hurt? We're going to try. But I'm going to show y'all what I got for $1. I did some major trimming, but the only thing written, it said Burpee Slicer. And guys, it had a tomato on it. I do see a few, I see a few buds, but I gave it a heavy haircut. Now, I'm going to hope that it does make it, but I'm also going to see if I can grow like a hothouse tomato. I wish it had more buds on it, but I think it's going to be okay. But we're going to test it and see how it does in the greenhouse. Okay, here's the other tomato. I only bought 2. This one just said cherry sweet. That was it. So, who knows? But I will have to stake this one. I see how it's kind of leaning that away a little bit to the left. So I'm going to have to stake it. All I did was bring in my square cages, and we're just going to see. So if they grow and they do good, you know, it's not going to be like a summer tomato, but we're going to call it a hothouse tomato. But it's also going to let me learn something about the greenhouse, because this is our first time to grow in this greenhouse, trying to prevent another Arctic blast. Right here was a rosemary plant. It's actually wanting to sit back up some, and I did trim it, but it was a buck, guys. If I can house it over the winter, I can add to my other rosemary. And here was an oregano. It was an Italian oregano, but for $1, why not see what they can do? Here is some Brussels sprouts. There was only 2 out of the 4-pack, so she let me have that for $1 as well. You know, yeah, I may have them a little bit close. You're supposed to do them 12 inches apart, but there again, this gives me a chance to try And there's no guarantee my seeds are going to come up. Remember, we just planted them last week. But this does allow me to have some vegetables in here, and they don't look bad. And if I get the other ones to germinate, because I've got them on a heat pad, then I'll be able to maybe house them, pot them up, and have them for my second round like I normally do with my brassicas. And here is 2 cabbage plants. And the only reason I say cabbage plants, because that's all it said was cabbage plants. So we're going to see. I see this one here. I'm going to pinch this off. See, it's kind of yellow. I had to do a lot of trimming. But guys, I think y'all would have done the same thing. And here was the broccoli. They look like little trees right now, don't they? That's because they were just burnt up leaves. But this was $2 for a 4-pack. And yes, I put all 4 in there. What I'm probably going to do is take 2 out and move them to this empty bucket here. But I really don't want to disturb them, because when I tell you dry, they were powder house dry, so I soaked them before I planted them. But I may just leave them and see. This is a large 25-gallon mineral tub. I don't know yet, but we're going to see together. But here's the rest of them. Now, some of them are missing in the cells. Like there's a Brussels sprout back there, and 2 are gone, like missing. There's no plant in 2, but there's 2 other Brussels sprouts. Here is some collards. 1's missing. And those were $2, guys. I'm going to come back out of the sun. So I had $11 total. And I said, I would be a fool not to get these, because that just allows me a little bit of something. If the collards, let's say the cabbage, did I do Brussels sprouts? No. I did broccoli, and I did cauliflower. And I don't remember where I put them all, but I marked them. But I'm going to walk through here and show you. I went ahead and put more seeds, started more seeds in the pots. So if the ones take that I did seed start, because y'all, I was what, 6-8 weeks late? I will go ahead and put them outside in the big garden. No biggie. And then there again, we can see how well they do in the outside elements, depending on the winter that we're, gonna have. They're saying a wet cold. You really don't know. But I also will have them in the greenhouse. So, I think it was worth me to go ahead and reseed these empty buckets and not wait to see if the others germinate. And like I said, for $11, I couldn't pass it up. Although the lady looked at me like, you want these? I said, yes, ma'am. I'm going to see what I can do with them. Y'all, you know how it is, you gardeners. It ain't dead. To some people, yes. To us, it's like all it needs is some love, some TLC, and we can rock it out. But I'm most excited about the tomatoes. Now, let me show you what Mr. Buddy was working on while I was out here. No, before we do that, I'll give you a scan. All but 2 of the mineral totes have been planted. Y'all, I don't know what Lou has found, but she has found something. If y'all see a spot on her back end, it's because she has stitches. Yes. We don't know what got her, but something did. I don't know what she's chasing. I'm hoping it's just a lizard and not one of them big lizards. But let's get back to the garden. Y'all, if something big comes rolling out, y'all fixing to run them with me. All right, every one of these has either been seeded or planted with something. Of course, I showed you what was planted. Do y'all see something missing? He cut the center box out. Remember a couple of weeks ago I said this is where we're going to make a walkway and then have our outdoor sink? Well, he cut the box out and we filled up 3 of those mineral totes. when he comes in this evening, he's got to cut his plyboard, and he's got to wall up this corner and wall up this corner. So now we'll have, let me back up. I don't know if y'all can see very well. But now we'll have access to the large garden, and then off to the right where the plumbing's going to run down on the ground and up. About right there is where my sink will go in. Y'all saw the big stainless steel sink. So I'm very happy it's already starting. And we do have to treat, stain and water treat the large garden bed, because I'm going to show you why. Just in a year, guys. Well, no, this will be 2 years, because remember, all we had was this first run. You see how it's already rotted on the inside? So as sections deplete, we will add buckets. And that gives us plenty of time. We probably got another 2 years of this side of the garden. But yeah, I'm going to love it, so I don't have to walk all the way around no more. Both sides will be connected. Y'all, I walked up in this house. You talk about smell good. But it's been about an hour and 15 minutes. So now we're going to add the greens. I turned the eye up to number 8. These greens are cold, a little damp, and I want to bring them to a boil. And they cook down, so don't be alarmed with this big pot against this little pot. The reason why I bring my liquid up halfway, regardless of what size pot, is because that's how much it's going to take to leave you a little pot liquor. It's just a good measurement. If you've never done greens, or if you've done greens and you end up with not enough liquid or too much, always remember, if you go half mass, halfway up the pot, you're within the ballpark of where you need to be. All right. A couple of minutes just till it starts getting to a boil and you see them wilt down, and then we'll start folding, and then it's all about waiting again. But I'll be right back. I wanted to show you something. It's not even at a rolling boil. But did you see how they have cooked down already, wilted down, and they're even with the liquid? See, it's perfect. 2 hours. 2 hours, yes. So I don't need to do cornbread. I don't need to fry the chicken or anything right now. I've just got it sitting in a salt brine. I just did chicken legs, easy peasy. There's 6 of them. Cold chicken for tomorrow, can't beat it. Now I'm headed to the shed while these just sit here and do their thing, because I got to unpack. So I'll see you in 2 hours. We getting to the supper table, I promise you. And just like that, the greens are done, the cornbread's done, corn on the cob's done. I sliced us up an onion. Y'all, you got to have onion and pepper sauce with your greens. Now it's time to fry our chicken legs. So some of you are new to the channel. You may have not seen my fried chicken recipe. I do it very simple. Do it the same way. The secret ingredient is butter. So I'm not going to make you hold on for the whole cooking, but I'm going to show you how I do my chicken, and then we'll end the video with a plate of good groceries. I've got just enough oil in my pot that the chicken legs will be 3/4 covered. Now I added 2 tablespoons of butter after the oil was hot. That way it ensures my butter doesn't burn, but it does lend to a more crispier crust. Flour my chicken, and I let it rest 15 minutes. And then I come back in and I flour it again before I put it into the oil. We'll do another one. Now all this is self-rising flour that I seasoned with swamp mix, salt, and pepper. The eye of my stove is sitting on a 5. And now I'm going to turn it down to about 4.5. You'll have to adjust. You want a steady fry, but you don't want a hard fry. And we're going to let these fry like this about 5 minutes, and then we're going to put a lid on. But I'll show you. It's been 5 minutes, so I'm going to turn my chicken. You see, it's got a good light golden color. That's what you want. There we go. Now that we turned them, I will put the lid on, and I'm going to let these go about 5 minutes, because what we're doing now is we're cooking the chicken from the bone outwards, because this is bone in. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. Let's remove the lid. Be very careful when you're removing the lid. And we're going to give these a turn. We're going to go another 5 minutes with the lid on. Then we're going to take the lid off, and that will crisp the chicken up. And it doesn't matter if you're doing thighs, breast. But this way you know you're cooking it to the bone. Okay, we've got a total of 10 minutes with the lid on, rotating our chicken legs. Now the lid's coming off, and we're going to go about another 7 to 10 minutes moving our chicken so it gets evenly crispy all the way around. Can y'all see that? Look at that beautiful chicken. Now, if you're new to frying chicken, some of you may be, internal temp, meaning this is bone in, thighs and legs need to be 165 Fahrenheit, okay? Just always keep that in mind. But the way I cook mine now, let me show you. It's going to be hot. Woo! Yeah, that's going to be hot. You see it's crispy. You ain't seeing nothing. It's too hot to hold it up for y'all to see. But it is more steam fried. And I always do my chicken like this. Now, if we were outdoors, I would deep fry it. But I don't like to deep fry often. But if the grandkids are here, they really want that batter. And I'll do a buttermilk batter. But just for us, we like to steam fry it. That way it ensures I don't have to use a thermometer. But always remember, if you want to cook it from the bone out, make sure that you put the lid on. Don't crank your stove eye up to high. Keep it at a medium to high. That ensures a steady fry without burning the outside of the chicken and burning your oil. So, just a little tip, but this is just basically smothered fried chicken. But the star of the show is the greens. Well, let me show y'all this. Here's the cornbread. And here's the corn on the cob. We're keeping it simple. We've got some pepper sauce. I put this up either last year or year before, because you got to have pepper sauce with your greens. But I'm just going to get a sample of the greens, because it's not time to eat yet. It's just 4:30. So he won't be home for another half hour to 45 minutes. So we're going to do a sample. Okay? And I know they're going to be good. I have been craving this. Y'all, mustard greens can bitter on you. Now, when it's frost on them, they'll get sweeter. But that little bit of carrot, it does sweeten it. Now, I did add about 2 tablespoons of sugar an hour ago, okay? Because I wanted it less bitter. But these are perfect. Absolutely perfect. So we'll pour pepper sauce on ours. Now, mine has a little bite. Like I said, you'll have to season to taste. But I enjoyed you guys spending the day with me. We got to go to the garden. We got to see these crazy carrots on steroids. If y'all could have seen my face. I was like, what? So, but it's glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. And I got everything put back up in the sugar shack. So we're back in normal business, but I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to another event. Just saying. But as always, stay safe, stay well, and God bless. Here's to fall.